Good day, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar, Search in the Age of AI, How Do I Get Found? My name is John Massey. I'm Vice President of Customer Success here at Kensium, and I'll be your host for the next hour as we explore how artificial intelligence is reshaping the way businesses and brands are discovered online. Before we get started, though, I wanted to share an AI story with you. I'm based in Stamford, Connecticut, but today I'm speaking to you from Hyderabad, India. And before I started my journey last Saturday, 24 hours door to door, I was very concerned about the effects of jet lag, as I was only going to be here for a week. And I thought to myself, would AI have any recommendations? So I jumped onto Copilot, fed it my travel plans, and it gave me a schedule so strange I felt even my cat started judging me. But it worked. I landed fresh and jumped straight into work. The point is, if AI can optimize my sleep to avoid jet lag, imagine what it's going to do to search. Okay, let's dive in. A couple of things to keep in mind. The session is being recorded, and we'll share the recording with all the registrants after the event. 2, feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box throughout the webinar. We'll save time at the end for live Q&A with our speakers. Keep in mind, we might not be able to get to all the questions, but any of the questions we don't answer live, we'll reach out to you. And finally, if you experience any technical issues, try refreshing your browser or use the chat to reach out to our support team. Okay. What are we going to cover today? In today's session, we'll explore how AI is transforming search behavior and algorithms, how to business stay visible and relevant, strategies for AI-driven optimization, and whether you're a marketer, a business owner, or a tech enthusiast, you'll walk away with actionable ideas to improve your digital visibility in this new era. Okay. Let's meet our speakers. Joining us today is Anusha Chiadu, Vice President of Creative Marketing Services at Kensium, where she also leads our AI search optimization practice. She brings over a decade of experience in user experience design in marketing. She's passionate about helping businesses navigate how search is evolving in the age of AI. And we're also joined by Ricky Bhavani, Marketing Manager at Kensium, who oversees internal marketing initiatives that highlight our successful projects, our client stories, and our company achievements. Ricky's focus on content strategy and brand storytelling ensures Kensium's innovations reach the right audiences. He's always exploring new ways to drive visibility and engagement through digital marketing. So with that, let's jump in, and I'll hand it over to Anusha to kick things off.
Thank you, John. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. I'm really excited to dive into a topic that's redefining how discovery works online. Search in the age of AI, how do I get found? Search is changing faster than ever before, and what worked even a year ago just doesn't cut it anymore. Over the next 40 to 45 minutes, I'll be walking you through the shifts we are seeing, why they matter, and most importantly, how you can adapt your strategy to stay visible and competitive. We are really at an interesting moment in time. For years, we've been thinking about search almost exclusively through the lens of Google, ranking for the right keywords, building links. But today, with AI systems like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and others, the way people search and the way businesses get discovered is undergoing a massive shift. The big question that business owners and digital leaders need answer is, how do I make sure my brand is visible? How do I make sure my product is visible in the new age of AI-driven search? And that's precisely what we're going to unpack in today's webinar. I'll be walking you through what's changing, why it matters, and most importantly, what you can do about it to make sure you're not just keeping up, but you're actually staying ahead. Here is a powerful metric to set the stage. Traffic from AI-driven visitors, that is large language models, convert nearly at 9x higher than traditional search. What we are seeing today is a fundamental shift. Users who discovered brands through AI platforms like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Copilot are far more intentional and closer to the point of conversion than those arriving from traditional search. Now let's think about that, what that really means. Majority of the users looking for information online will not be starting on Google like the way we used to. They'll be starting on AI assistants, asking questions in natural language, and getting synthesized answers right away. For businesses, this isn't another channel. It's a complete shift in where people discover how they make decisions. And if AI search is going to be the dominant entry point, we need to make sure we are building visibility there today. And that's really the story of today's discussion, how AI search is reshaping discovery, credibility, and conversion for every digital brand. And let's be honest, if you've ever ended up buying a product because ChatGPT convinced you it was the best choice, you already experienced the shift firsthand. Let's talk about how search behavior is evolving. One of the most obvious shifts we are seeing is the way people are searching. In the old world, you might go to Google and type in best CRM software, and what you'd get is a list of links. Maybe some websites, maybe some sponsored ads, and then you go through pages comparing options. But let's take a look at how it's changing today. People are asking AI assistants or AI large language models questions like, which CRM is best for a 10-person B2B team in manufacturing with a budget of $200 a month? That's no longer just a keyword. That's a conversation. It's hyper specific to user situation, and AI platforms give contextual recommendations, often with pros and cons, and sometimes even a step-by-step suggestion. This is a fundamental shift. We are moving away from optimizing for keywords into a world where intent, context, and natural language queries matter more than ever. And honestly, it's a little scary how specific these queries have become. It's like users want the AI to know their businesses better than their own sales team. We're seeing one more behavioral shift. That is, search is no longer a linear funnel. Traditionally, you might search for something like best laptops in 2023, read a few Google results, move slowly through the funnel, awareness, consideration, and purchase stages. But today, the process looks more like a constellation rather than a funnel. A user might start with a Google search. He may then jump into ChatGPT for summaries or details, check YouTube for reviews, browse Amazon for pricing, and decide right there. This whole journey might happen in minutes, if not weeks, and it's happening across multiple surfaces like AI assistants, social media, marketplaces, search engines, all of them working together. So it's less of a funnel now and more of a roller coaster. Users jump in, loop around 5 tabs, and somehow end up with a checkout. So the key takeaway here is your brand cannot rely on showing up in just one place. You need to be discoverable across surfaces because customers are moving fast and they're making decisions based on a combination of signals from everywhere. Let's talk about one more important shift happening in the industry. That is zero-click searches. 65% of the Google searches in 2024 ended without a click. Think about that for a second. More than half of the users are finding their answers directly on Google without ever visiting a website. It could be your content which might be doing all the talking, but Google's doing all the hosting. So what's driving this change? It's the rise of AI summaries, snippets, and answer boxes that instantly give users what they're looking for, right there in the results page. For brands, this changes the entire game. The question is no longer how do I rank on Google? It's how do I stay visible when the click doesn't happen? Your brand needs to be optimized not just for ranking, but for representation. And how you appear in these summaries, what information is being pulled about you, and whether AI considers your source credible enough to surface. In short, visibility without clicks is the new SEO frontier. Let's move on to understand how the discovery has evolved from traditional SEO to AI search. Earlier, users searched with keywords. Now they're using prompts and natural language. Discovery used to be about algorithms. Today, it's driven by AI agents and large language models that interpret meaning. Engagement is no longer about clicks. It's about whether you appear inside AI-generated answers. Authority has moved beyond backlinks to include citations, community signals, and entity strength. And trust now extends beyond what we called as experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, which we are going to talk about in a bit. We have an added helpfulness into the equation. That's an additional signal of credibility. So basically, SEO did not die. It just got an AI makeover. Let's talk about how AI search is fragmented. If you think about what's really driving the shift, it's not just changing user behavior, it's the landscape of search itself that's changing. We are no longer in a world where Google owns the entire search experience. The rise of AI search has completely broken that monopoly. We've got ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Meta AI, Google AI Overviews, and Microsoft Copilot, each building its own version of the search experience. The key takeaway here is there isn't going to be one winner. And that means visibility is no longer about optimizing for one search engine. It's about optimizing your brand presence across an entire system of AI models. Each of these systems learn differently, cites differently, and presents information differently, which means your optimization strategies also need to evolve. Let's take a look at some matrices. Here is where this becomes very real. When we look at the current AI search market, Google's AI overview still holds the largest user base, followed by Meta AI, and users on ChatGPT are rapidly growing. The key takeaway is Google may own the scale currently, but models like ChatGPT own the quality of engagement. Users interacting with AI-driven platforms are deeper in their intent, often comparing, researching, or evaluating, which makes them extremely valuable from a conversion standpoint. So the real question for every brand becomes, how do you stay discoverable across multiple AI systems and not just Google? And that's the new SEO challenge. So now what we know is AI search is fragmented. The next question is, how do we adapt? How can brands create a presence that's consistent, recognizable, and optimized no matter where your users search? And that's exactly what we will explore next. 3 pillars of AI search visibility. Let's talk about what it actually takes to dominate AI search. I'd like to break this into 3 buckets. 1, what's on your website? This is your own content, your product pages, blogs, service pages. Here, the models are looking for how unique your content is, how helpful your content is. And in short, are you giving users the content that's clear, structured, and actually answers their questions? The second bucket is all about how models evaluate your site. This is the technical side, which includes things like crawlability, structured data, site speed, and whether your pages are rendered in a way AI bots can read. The third bucket is what the internet says about you. This is the sentiment, citations, and social signals. AI models pay attention to reviews, mentions on external platforms, and if your brand is consistently talked about in a positive, credible way, you're far more likely to be surfaced in AI answers. So basically, your content tells your story, your tech makes sure AI can read it, and your reputation decides whether it's worth recommending. From here, we'll shift into first bucket, practical content strategies on how to structure and optimize your site's content to win in AI search. The specificity strategy. For years, brands chased breadth, trying to cover all possible topics at the surface level. Let's say you're writing about coffee. Broad topics like coffee types, brewing methods, coffee history. AI sees this as generic content, and your content gets lost in the noise. Instead, here is what wins today, that is being micro-specific, mastering micro topics that directly map into users' needs. Take a look at the example here. Instead of a broad coffee article, write about how to make the perfect French press coffee at a 4-minute steep. That's depth. AI rewards this kind of focused expertise. It treats you as an authority on that exact specific problem, which means higher relevance scores, better matches, and more visibility. So the strategy is simple. It's depth over breadth. Own the micro topics your audience care the most about. Entity first and not keyword first. Traditionally, SEO has been keyword first. We used to pay emphasis on having keywords in content. But AI search doesn't work like that. AI models just don't recognize keywords, they recognize entities. So what are entities? Entities are clearly defined sub-products, sub-services, sub-brands, or organization, each with specific attributes that tell AI who you are, what you offer, and provide proof that you exist and are credible. So if you look at this example on the right, you can see how search is evolving from a traditional domain-based model to an entity-driven one. On the left, you see traditional SEO typically ranks purely based on the site's overall authority. You will see results such as TechCrunch, Gartner, Forbes, all of the big names, but not necessarily the best match for the user's intent. On the right side, in the AI-driven version, the results shift. The system identifies actual entities, specific cybersecurity vendors that match the user's context for the question which the user is asking, which is the best cybersecurity vendors for financial services. Now let's talk about content quality signals. In the past, Google emphasized 4 parameters, which is expertise, experience, authority, and trust. Today with AI, we go a step further by adding helpfulness to the equation. So let's understand each of them. Helpfulness is about whether your content is helpful for the users. Does it give what they're looking for? Does it engage the users? Experience is all about producing the real use cases, demonstrations. Expertise is about credibility. Who is writing the content? Who is the author? What are the author's credentials? Or even reviews from subject matter experts. And authority comes from citing reputable sources or earning third-party mentions from reputable sources. And finally, trust. It's about providing transparency with updates and clear policies. So the message here is don't just publish content, signal quality in every possible way. That's what modern AI systems pick on. Another big shift, what we are seeing is the way you structure the content. Long paragraphs might have worked for the blogs earlier, but AI assistants, they need clean, semantically chunked answers, which they can lift directly. Let's take a look at an example here. On the left, you've got a wall of text about large language models. On the right, it's broken down into a Q&A format with quick answers, bullets, and subsections. That means open with a short 3 to 5 bullet summary that gives a direct answer, irrespective of the content format. It could be video, it could be a blog post. Use question-shaped headings with short paragraphs, lists, and tables, and focus on concrete verbs, steps, and outcomes. These are some of the best practices that we recommend. Let's talk about structured data, right? What is schema? What is structured data? Schema is like a piece of code on your front end that gives machines a cheat sheet. It's a set of explicit instructions on what your page contains. Without schema, your content is just text. And with schema, you're telling the system, this is the product, here is the price, here is the rating, and here is the review count. On the right, you can see the difference. Without schema, you get a plain blue link. With schema, you get rich snippets. The users can see the price, reviews right on the results, search results, and that dramatically improves the click-through rates. Some of the most useful schema types we recommend our clients include organization, product, article, FAQ, reviews, how-to, video schema, and breadcrumb schema. Let's take a look at how to structure your content smartly on your website. Think of your website like a library. If your books are scattered everywhere, no one finds what they need. But when they're grouped by subject with a clear index, the experience is effortless. Build a clear content hierarchy with pillar and supporting cluster pages. So in the example here, the pillar page is Ultimate Guide to B2B or pillar page could be your service page, your product page. And then you have cluster pages, each of them covering focused subtopics on, for example, onboarding friction, personalization, buyer journey, case studies. So when users and AI search engines navigate such a structure, everything is interconnected. This structure signals depth and authority, making sure your content doesn't just exist, but actually gets surfaced. Let's talk about one of the fastest growing areas, that's visual search. Google alone processes 10 billion plus visual searches every month. And this is growing at over 17% CAGR through 2032. And AI search is multimodal. It just doesn't read text. It also interprets images, video, and product attributes. So your images, if they don't have structured data, alt text, or product metadata, your brand risks being invisible in the shift. Imagine a buyer snapping a product photo. If your image is optimized, your product can appear instantly as a match. Here is one of the most overlooked strategies, that is updating your content as compared to creating new content. Research shows updating older posts can boost organic performance by up to 106%. Why? Because AI platforms value freshness and relevance. Top performing sites spend most of their time refining and republishing what's already working rather than chasing new articles. One more big mindset shift that is important is teams often celebrate traffic growth without asking, did it convert? Let's say you're in the business of selling ergonomic furniture. A generic content piece like top 10 office chairs in 2025 may attract views, but it won't drive sales. Compare that to a buyer's guide for ergonomic chairs for remote teams with product comparisons, pricing, and clear CTAs. That's content designed for revenue. AI also rewards unique first-party and contextual insights. Bring in your own data, surveys, case studies, specific angles. Every piece of content should add genuine value and not just more noise. Let's talk about user experience, which often gets overlooked. There are 3 key things to focus on here. Number 1, reduce friction. Fast load times, mobile-first design, easy navigation. Don't make your users think. Make it effortless for them to get to what they need. Improve retention. Use clear CTAs, scannable layouts, and visuals that guide attention naturally. Engagement tells AI that your content is genuinely useful. And signal quality. Longer dwell times by the users send strong authority signals. Think of it as users vouching for your credibility without saying a word. So great UX doesn't just make your site feel better, it also makes your brand rank better. With that, we are going to move into the second bucket, and I'm going to hand it over to Ricky, who's going to walk you through the practical strategy.
Thank you, Anusha. All right, guys. So now let's shift gears a bit. We've covered content. Now let's talk about technical AI search optimization. This is the behind the scenes setup that helps AI see your site correctly. So what is that setup? Well, let's move on to the next slide. Robots.txt. I'm sure you heard of it. And that's where it's a sheet for bots to read to know if to follow it or to skip it. And there's two types of bots. There's training bots. They're like students taking notes, building long-term memory. And then there's real-time bots. They're like reporters pulling live info for the AI answers. And so what we want to do is to keep in mind to block private areas like login, admin, and checkout, and allow public ones like blogs, products, and services. And you can set different rules for different blogs. For example, you could allow GPT bot, but limit other ones. And so basically, essentially, robots.txt is your way of saying, hey AI, here's what I want you to remember and share. Now, even if robots.txt is perfect, your site might still not get seen properly. And let's look why. So there's some challenges and fixes when it comes to AI crawlability. Some common crawl blockers would be too much JavaScript. If there's too much, bots will skip it. If your page loads too slow, bots will skip it. They'll time out if it takes 5 seconds or more. If you have broken or old URLs, it wastes the crawl time. So how do you fix these? Well, you have server-side rendering for key pages, clean HTML for schema and schema markup, updated redirects and sitemaps, and keep important marketing pages open. Your impact, well, you will be crawlable and show up in AI results. And if you're not, your competitor does. So after fixing crawlability, what's next? Let's talk about the usual issues that quietly hurt visibility. So some SEO issues holding you back. The first critical fix would be to do your redirects. Make sure you're on HTTPS. You have a fast site speed. You don't have broken links, and you don't have duplicate content. After that, you want to make sure you have alt text, meta description. You're watching your title sizes. You have schema gaps. You're watching those, and you don't have multiple H1s. So I kind of call this your website's foundation. You can't build great content or AI strategies on a shaky structure. So we've handled the technical side. Let's move into something that's becoming even more powerful in AI search, and that's your reputation. Beyond tech and content, reputation signals decide if AI trusts you. Old SEO was backlinks equals trust. In AI search, your reputation equals new backlinks. These include mentions, citations, reviews, and what people are saying. For example, AI will ask, do credible sources mention you? Are people positive about your brand? And is your info consistent everywhere? If AI doesn't hear people talking about you, it assumes you are not relevant. So let's dig into the first type of reputational signal, citations and mentions. AI trusts brands seen on credible AI trusts brands which are seen on credible platforms such as TechCrunch, G2, Newswire, Shopify partner listings, and more. What matters most is you got to have case studies and public relation that gives AI facts to quote. Industry mention, this appears in review sites reports, and consistency, same brand name and messaging everywhere. The more consistent your presence, the more AI believes you're legit. So now you have your citations. But let's also look at what humans are seeing. That's the next thing that AI will look at. So that's called sentiment, UGC, and social signal. AI scans social chatter such as Reddit, LinkedIn, YouTube forums, etc. Key human signals are examples of reviews, community engagement, so meaningful participation, and sentiment. Your tone matters. Unaddressed negativity hurts. So if someone leaves a negative comment, you want to get control of that narrative. You want to reply and try to make them, make it right. And so, AI reads the room. And if people sound happy and you ignore it, it lowers your score. So pretty much, what is AI visibility? It's what you say, what others say, and the consistency between them. And there's also one major shift that's coming, and it's something huge for e-commerce. Shopify just announced merchants will soon be able to sell directly inside of ChatGPT. No redirects, no extra steps, just full shopping flow happens in the chat. And for example, a user might type, I want a fall scent that's warm and floral. And so ChatGPT will show Shopify brands and let you purchase right there. And that's called in context commerce. It's discovery plus chat plus checkout all in one place. And so let's bring it all together with one simple takeaway for 2005. And that is search in 2025 is not just about ranking, it's relevance plus credibility plus presence. And the three pillars are be discoverable, so show up on Google, AI tools, social, ChatGPT. Be credible, consistent mentions, authentic customer, and be relevant. Keep your content structured, fresh, and clear. So the question isn't how do I rank anymore? It's how do I stay visible and valuable when search becomes conversational? And that brings us to the close of our session. Now I'll hand it over to John, who will wrap up with a few final insights and takeaways and take questions as well. Thank you.
Anusha, great stuff. AI is certainly changing everything that we're doing, for sure. So, a couple things before we wrap. I do want to talk about some of our full service creative and digital marketing services that we offer. Obviously, we're AI search optimization. We think we're very far out in front of other agencies in helping our clients prepare for AI. Obviously, the usual CRO, UX, UI design, paid media, marketplace management, branding, content, email marketing. So if anybody has any interest in these and would like to chat with us, please reach out. We'd love to talk to you for sure. So we do have some great questions that came through in chat. Again, if we don't get to your question, don't worry. We have them. We know who asked, and we'll definitely reach out and get you an answer. And if you'd like to have a phone call, we'd love to do that too. So let's start with Anusha. This is probably one for you. What practical AI tools or workflows do you recommend for optimizing and automating content creation without losing brand voice?
That's a great question. Because this is where we believe a lot of teams go wrong. AI should amplify your content process and definitely not replace your brand voice. And what we do mostly for our clients is we build an AI assistant content workflow. For instance, we use tools like Surfer SEO, Jasper, ChatGPT to structure the outlines, analyze the intent, but the actual voice and examples always comes from brand's existing material. And addressing the conversation or pain points of their customers should always be considered in any content that you put out. Also, think of it this way. AI helps us scale, but every piece still goes through a human layer that refines tone, context, and credibility. So we should be using AI for structure and speed, but it's our content strategies to verify, fact check, and shape the final copy. So that's our take on it. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Anusha. Okay, another good one. With AI-driven search becoming the norm, how can smaller e-commerce brands or vendors survive and stay competitive in this kind of environment? Ricky, this sounds like you, I think.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, John. So some key points I'd like to make is that AI search actually levels the playing field if you position it right. Old SEO rewarded backlinks, which meant bigger budgets, but AI rewards clarity, expertise, and helpfulness. Smaller brands can win by defining entities clearly: who you are, what you sell, why you're so credible. Publishing helpful, specific content, guides, visuals, how-tos. So, for example, a small apparel brand, they could like create detailed fabric guides and sizing visuals, and AI will flag this as expertise. You can't outspend big brands, but you can out context them. So the point is pretty much be clearer, faster, and more specific, and that's how small brands will win AI search.
Exactly right, Ricky. Great. Okay, next question. How can brands measure ROI or visibility from AI-driven search, since we don't have clear analytic dashboards yet? Nusha, maybe you, I think.
Yep, sure. Honestly, this is one of the biggest challenges right now. Of course, users can track the referral traffic coming from different AI models. Today in Google Analytics, the users are able to track, but the way it's evolved is still at very early stages. It is definitely one of the early challenges. And here are some of the few early indicators we use that measure the influence in ROI. We first track the brand mentions and citations across the AI platforms, and these act as early visibility signals. Second, we monitor behavioral metrics. We look at increase in zero-click impressions of the brand. We look at the branded search group, which often correlates with the AI exposure. And third, we rely on the first-party data and attribution. If your CRM or email signups spike after content updates or structured data rollouts, that's a signal that your AI visibility is working indirectly. So until dashboards evolve, the best approach is to build a visibility proxy, which is a mix of mentions, engagement metrics, brand search that show how AI is amplifying your reach.
Great. Thank you, Anusha. And Ricky, I know this is for you because it's related to paid ads. So with AI influencing organic discovery, do you see paid ads losing importance, or will brands need to balance both differently?
Yeah, no, paid ads are not dying, but their role is shifting. Before ads, they created awareness. Now AI search creates awareness first, and then ads reinforce that trust. So it works best when it's sequenced. So AI search builds credibility, then ads repeat and convert. So for example, a B2C client, after optimizing for AI entities, the CPC dropped 20% because users already recognize the brand. So AI builds curiosity, ads close the deal. The future isn't about ads or AI, it's AI-led discovery and AI and ad-led enforcement, if that makes sense.
Great, Ricky. Thanks. One of my favorite topics, Amazon. Do marketplaces like Amazon's built-in AI search use signals as Google or ChatGPT? How do we optimize differently for those? Ricky, I think it's back to you.
Yeah. So that's a great question. And because the systems used to be very different, but now they're starting to overlap. So for example, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Google SGE focus on discovery and consideration. Users for searching, comparing, and forming intent. And Amazon was focused purely on conversion. People had already decided to buy and were choosing what to and who or what to buy, but they've already decided to buy. So, but now with, for example, Shopify and ChatGPT, the line between discovery and purchase is fading fast. And ChatGPT can now recommend, compare, and complete purchases all in one flow. And we call that in-context commerce: discovery, conversation, and checkout happening together. So what does that mean for optimization? Well, now you're optimizing for two complementary goals. AI discovery: make sure your brand is findable, credible inside AI tools like ChatGPT. And that you do by focusing on content, clarity, schema, entity data, and reputation signals. And then there's commerce conversation. Make sure your listings and product data are ready for instant action. So you do that by optimizing descriptions, reviews, pricing accuracy, and trust patches. And so think of it like this. AI is becoming the new storefront, and marketplaces are becoming the checkout. To win, you need to show up early in AI answers and look ready to buy when users ask.
Great. Thanks, Ricky. Okay, we got time for one more. Let me see here. Does technical SEO still matter in the AI era? Or will AI override things like sitemap, schema, crawl settings? I think, Anusha, you were talking about this earlier. Maybe you could take this one.
Yeah, we think it matters more than ever. AI definitely doesn't override crawlability. It relies on it to understand your site. So your technical SEO is what tells the AI model, this is who we are and this is what we do. So we recently worked with a client where we simply updated their schema, added product attributes, author data, added reviews, and it helped them surface in AI summaries, almost up by 20-30%. So think of technical SEO as your brand's infrastructure for AI visibility. Without it, AI doesn't know how to classify or trust your data. So definitely technical SEO matters more than ever.
Okay, great. Well, that's all we have time now for the Q&A. As I had said, anybody that put further questions in the chat, we didn't get to you, we certainly will. So in closing, we put up our phone number and an email address up on the slide here. Certainly go ahead and click that contact us link in the slide. Come on over. We'd love to talk to you. And finally, I'd like to thank all of you for your time today. I know time is precious, and we really thank you for spending your time with us today. Have a great rest of your day, and we hope to talk to you soon. Thank you so much.